Hi, welcome to the Ordinary Black Professionals. I'm Nicole,
And I'm Stefan.
and this week we have the owner and founder of Taideux. Taideux is a company which is on a mission to create more inclusive clothing for fuller bust women by providing stylish, well fitted tops and dresses. Not only does she run a successful business full time, but she also somehow manages to hold down a full time job in the corporate world as well. Welcome, Dolapo.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome to our podcast.
So I know personally why you started Taidou, and I read in your blogs about why you started, but it would be good to understand from your, speak about in your words as to how you came about starting the company.
Yeah, sure. I started Taidou just based on my own frustrations. I wear, first of all, I'm probably going to say boobs a lot in this episode.
Go for it.
I
You can say
wear,
anything you like.
okay, yeah, I grew up with like four sisters. I have four sisters, and I've not really been into fashion, but I do like dressing up. I don't consider myself like a fashionista or anything, but I do like dressing up. I like looking nice. Growing up, I always used to share clothes with my sisters, and then I went through like a growth spurt, and I added weight as well, and my boobs dramatically increased. I managed to lose the weight, but then I still had big boobs in comparison to the rest of my body.
Mm,
And I realized that clothes weren't made for women who have big boobs, like bigger than average boobs. And it was just super frustrating for me because I was like, why is this happening? I still want to look cute. And the options that were available were more matronly and geared towards a more mature audience. So I decided to start it. And I was also coming from a place of like being very unfulfilled at work as well. I wanted to dabble into something creative. I always wanted to start my own business, even though I had no idea it would be something fashion related. I always thought I would start like a tech business.
yeah.
So yeah, I decided to go for it. And yeah, I've been running with it since and working full time.
I remember when you had the idea of it because I am also someone who has a large chest and a small frame, and I agree with you, it's really, really hard to
Mhm.
find clothes like shirts and stuff that fit. And I remember when you came up with the idea and you was like talking it through and things like that. What what made you decide to like finally take the plunge? Did you wake up in the middle of the night and think, yes, I need to do this? Or was it more gradual?
I would say I'm actually quite erratic. I can be quite impulsive, and I think because I thought it would be a walk in the park having a clothing line, I was just like, yeah, let's go for it. I bought a domain name. I made the website because I work in tech. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Make a website, even though you have
Mm.
no product or anything, and I also did customer research, to be fair. So I put out a survey. Nicole, you must have also done the survey as well.
Yeah, I did do the
Yeah.
survey.
So I put out a survey because I was like, surely this can't be happening to just me. I know I'm not like abnormal or anything. So I put out a survey and got over like about 100 responses. And
Wow.
it was a similar theme of like people wanting shirts and people are willing to pay for well-fitted clothing, and that kind of like pushed me because I like making. I'm a woman's woman. Like I love women. I'm a feminist. I love making women feel good. I'm passionate about like Black women in particular, but women in general, just because of my family. And yeah, so
Mm.
I was happy to do something that made women feel good. So that kind of pushed me as well to do it.
Would you say that you've got a passion for fashion?
To be honest, no, I have a passion for problem solving. I
Okay.
see my business as a problem solving like it is a fashion business, but my goal is to solve a problem. I feel like, and also to raise awareness to the fact that there is a lack, there's an exclusion of a certain demographic of women in the
Mm.
fashion industry. And I feel like when the fashion industry gets to a point that they recognize that fuller bust women need to be included, then title is no longer needed. And I'll probably move on to something else, but that is my mission.
Mm. And what do women with a fuller bust say about tie-dye? Like, what's some of the
It's
feedback that you get?
a good question. So I think for me, that is the best part of doing this. because people send me so many heartwarming warming messages. Like they feel seen,
Yeah.
that they've never had anything fit both their bust and their waist at the same time. And someone has said that because of me, they are reconsidering getting a reduction. Just like really, really, I don't know, it just makes me very happy that I'm making an impact on someone's life, that they feel confident, they feel sexy, like they're proud, and they don't feel ashamed of their bodies anymore. So,
Yeah.
yeah, those are the kind of messages I get all the time.
Yeah, I can imagine because from my personal experience, I've got, I'm not afraid to say 32 F boobs, and I'm quite
Mm-hmm.
I'm a small person,
Mm-hmm.
and you just can't get clothes to fit. And it sounds like an exaggeration, but it really isn't. You can't get tops that properly give you enough coverage or that will button up properly and then, as you said, fit your waist and the rest of your body. And so often I always felt like these clothes aren't made for me, that they're for women with smaller chests. And I've just accepted that as fact. I know I can't wear that like a shirt, or I know that I can't wear that particular dress, a wraparound dress or anything like that, because it's
Mm-hmm.
just not made for me.
Yeah, exactly. And there's such a misconception that being fuller bust, which is like the official term of when you have big boobs, means that you're plus size. But it
Mm,
doesn't mean that you can be a size 8 and you can have G cups. Like everyone's body is different. So I also wanted to break that stigma that being fuller bust doesn't mean a plus size. And it's actually the slimmer but fuller bust figures are actually excluded the most, because
yeah.
it's most like the fashion industry would normally like cater to small boobs, small waist, small hips, and they just grade upwards like in terms of like the sizing. So yeah, there's that as well.
How do you cater for so much sizing differences? So you could have women with, as you say, G bust
Mhm.
and size 8, but they could also be size 12 or something like that. How do you cater for so many different variations?
So how I do my size charts is that so I cater from a size 8 to a size 22, UK size 8 to size 22. But with each size, there are two options for the bust. So a size 8 can have option 1 and option 2 is what we call them. So full and fuller, those are what we call them in the size chart. And it's not based on cups like G cup, H cup, it's based on measurements. So a size 8 can pick between maybe a 38 bust and a 40 bust, depending on what their measurements are. So they pick the one closest to what they are.
Right.
Because I did like market research, and I kind of DM loads of fuller bust bloggers and just people around me that have big boobs, and took their measurements just to understand what the average size is across each size band.
To be able to
That's
come up with your bespoke sizing.
Yeah, exactly.
mm, that's really interesting. Maybe you could expand a bit more on like how you went about your market research.
So I looked at what competitors were doing. There are existing fuller bust brands out there doing clothing, but like I said, they cater to a more mature audience. So that
Yeah.
was my starting point. I did my basic size charts based on what they were doing. And then from that, so they have three options. The most popular ones, they have three options for the bust size, but I knew that I couldn't do as many units,
Hmm.
because it's very capital intensive if you do that many units. So I just like DM'd. I had started like building rapport with influencers within the Fuller Bus space. There's like a little Fuller Bus community on Instagram. So I kind of made a name for myself before I launched, just posting inspo pics and engaging with like people in the community. And then I would DM them and just say, oh, hey, I'm doing research because I want to make sure that I get the sizing right. Would you mind helping out and sharing your measurements? And most times they're more than happy to help, because they're just so keen to see someone catering to them. So
To them, yeah.
Yeah.
they're happy to help. Yeah.
Would you say that was kind of one of the hardest things when starting your business, was doing that market research, or was it something else entirely?
No, the hardest thing was feeling like an imposter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the mental part of it.
Why did you feel like you didn't belong in the space? Because you are like you are your target audience. So if
Because
anything, you belong.
I belong because, but I felt like I belonged as a consumer, not as someone providing the solution because I had
Mm,
no fashion background. So it was a completely new space, and there's so many things that go into like having an idea, a design in your head, and getting it to a final product. Like thinking of the packaging, thinking of the branding. Like that isn't my strong points. My strong point
mm,
is business because I come from like the corporate world. So I was comfortable with the business side, but when it came to like the actual like logistics of things and the production and manufacturing, I was so uncomfortable. And even the design, because for me, my design process is so different from a typical designer's process. A typical designer will see a fabric and they'll be so inspired, or like travel to a city and be inspired by that city
yeah.
and sketch something out. My design process is I see something and I'm like, that's not fair. People with big boobs can't wear that. How do I innovate? So it's very different. And sometimes I get designers like design, what's it called? Like a block as well, because I just don't know what to do. So yeah, it was just the mental part of not feeling like I could do it or feeling like a fraud sometimes.
Has that decreased over time or is it still there?
Um, it's still there, but now I know how to talk myself out of it more. Like before, I would be crying at night. Like
Mm,
my fiance would be like, "Don't worry," because I would see other people doing. So I didn't know ASOS had a fuller bus brand, for example, and then
yeah.
someone had sent me a message like when I was already deep into it and had spent some money that ASOS has a fuller bus, and I just started crying like. How the hell am I going to compete against ASOS? And but then I just got over it because there will be competition. Even now, there's more up and coming brands that are doing the same thing, but um, I feel like no one will be able to execute like I do.
That's
And
yeah.
yeah,
And the thing is as well with yours is that you offer the bespoke sizing. So even if you go to ASOS, it's still the generic sizes, if that makes sense. So it may not fit your body and be as tailored as the clothing that you make.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've also seen maybe conversations on Twitter, and
Hmm.
people have recommended your brand as well as the brand to go for if they want fuller bust clothing. I've seen that.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, from random people. I don't know who they are. Maybe they're associates of yours, or maybe they're your customers. But yeah, people have been recommending your brand, and I've seen it, just around the Black Twitter UK stratosphere.
that is so sweet. I get really happy when people I don't know, like I love my family and friends, and I love that they support me. But it makes me even happier when strangers that I don't know from Adam, like like advocating for me and like buying from me because I'm like,
yeah.
okay, maybe I'm doing something right.
Would you say, I'm just thinking back on what you said was difficult around like starting up the business and thinking about the packaging, the branding.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you underestimated just how difficult it would be? Because I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to start up my own business. Yeah, I want to do that. And I think, I don't know, not everyone always thinks about just how hard it is, like just how much grind has to go in to make it successful.
Mm,
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I think what's the saying? Ignorance is bliss. Seriously, if I knew, Nicole, you know me, I don't like stress in my life. If I knew that it was going to be as stressful as it is, I definitely wouldn't have done it. I would have done something else because I did want to start a business, but fashion is so stressful because there's just so many things you have to think about, and you're also dealing with overseas manufacturers. Well, I am dealing with overseas manufacturers as well, so there's also that time difference there. It's
Yeah,
hours ahead, and there's just so many things, and I'm doing it on my own as well, so you're wearing all the hats, and you know that you have strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes you still have to do the job, like the part of the business that you are weak, that is not your strength basically.
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely underestimated it, but it gets easier though. I would say now I definitely have more of a hang of things. I understand my processes better because before I was just doing things anyhow. Like I didn't really understand like the step-by-step process, but now I'm also able to bring in skills from work. So like my project management from work into my business. So I'm more organized about things.
I think the fact that you have a consulting background must make such a difference. Just in the way that you think and your planning and your approach to things.
Yeah, for sure. It does.
It's the project management skills, I think. Yeah.
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 People underestimate that. They
Mm.
really do. They go, oh, you got a plan. Oh, you got Excel. Laugh, laugh, laugh. And it's like, well, actually, I'm a really organized person and I get shit done.
It makes everything a
Exactly.
bit easier.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So you obviously, well, not obviously, because people can't see you, but you're a black woman. Do you feel pressure being a black business owner and maybe having to represent yourself in a certain way?
Um, kind of. Well, first of all, I don't really put myself in front, like as the face of my business.
No,
So
you really don't.
yeah,
People won't know what you look like.
yeah. A lot of people don't know that this is a black-owned business. I just posted like a reel on Instagram recently, and I did show my face,
You did, yeah, I saw that.
and someone commented, "This is a black-owned business. Take all my coins." Blah blah blah. But back to your question, um, is there pressure? I feel like black-owned businesses are more scrutinized than regular businesses. Like you guys are
Mm.
on Twitter. I don't know if you see. Sometimes they just drag businesses. Like I feel like people are waiting to see the business
Hmm.
Fail. Yeah,
Yeah.
fail.
they're waiting to mess up because, as you said, they want to drag them.
Yeah,
We hold them to a, we all want to like support black businesses, but then we hold them to a much higher
yeah,
standard
Mm.
yeah,
than like any other business.
yeah. And now that I'm a business owner, like I really understand how difficult it is, and I even provide more grace to small business owners because when you're the only one doing it yourself, mistakes are bound to happen.
Mm.
So I do think a lot of the pressure. Sometimes we do put it on ourselves. So like I put pressure on myself as well. So it's a mixture of people scrutinizing black businesses more, and just as an individual putting pressure on myself as well.
It's hard, isn't it? Because you want it to be, it's your baby and you spent
Mhm.
hours, in fact, you spent years working on this.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to put that kind of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And because you know, like your friends and family, even though most people externally might not know that it's a black-owned business or that is my business, your friends and family know as well. So
Yeah.
you also feel like, oh God, I don't want them to see me as a failure. Like I want to quit every 2 weeks or something, Taideux. But then I'm like, oh, what would my friends and family think? Like they think this I'm doing really well and stuff. But yeah, it kind of pushes me on as well.
I'm just thinking because you said someone commented and said, "Oh, I didn't realize this was black owned. I'm going to give you all my coins." Because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like on your website, there's so much diversity. You've got a mixture of bigger girls, smaller girls,
Mm-hmm.
black, white. To me, that I would have just automatically assumed that it was a black owned business because of the diversity that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Was it really important to make sure that you had different types of people on the website?
Coming from the corporate world where I don't really see myself represented, it was important for me to do things differently in my own business. And to me, I think in a diverse way by default because I am I am a minority. So I
Yeah.
feel like people who are minorities, like it's just like natural for you. Like I felt uncomfortable just having white models. In fact, I even had to bring in white models because my initial set of models were just black.
Yeah, that's what I would do. In my mind, I'd be like, okay, so I'm only going to have black and Asian models.
Yeah,
And I'd actually have to consciously remind myself
yeah,
to bring
exactly.
in white models. I'd be the exact same.
So yeah, I just had to, and then different sizes as well. Like I really, and it helps with your sales too because people, I have a wide size range, so why shouldn't they be able to see what it would look like on a full figured person or a plus
Yeah.
size person if they are plus size? So I just felt that was important. So even going forward, like I'm about to do a shoot now, and I'm only using one model, one because of COVID and one just budget. And I'm just using a black plus size model because I want to and I can do whatever I want in my business. So
So we've noticed that you've been in certain publications, Elle, the Unedit, Red Magazine, Hourglassy, and the Lingerie Princess. What's the story behind being featured in those magazines, and how did you get featured there?
So I pitched to the magazines, to Elle, to the Edit, and to Red Magazine. And then the last two are blogs, and they featured me because they focus on fuller bust. They're fuller bust blogs, so they just featured me naturally. Um, I feel like in business or just in life generally, you have to be prepared, but you also have to find opportunities. So
Mm.
most of the times to get press for free, you have to pitch to the magazine editors because they're actually looking for businesses to feature, like looking for new ideas and stuff. So yeah, they featured me and I was really happy being in like well-known magazines because it gives you credibility,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and it also helps your SEO as well and drives traffic to your website. So that was really good.
That's really good. How do you just email them? How do you pitch to them?
Yeah, you literally just email them. Like you stalk the editors, and you stalk sounds so bad. Okay, you find the editors, you find their email addresses. Mostly, I just find their emails through Instagram, or you can check the website. Sometimes they have the list of all the magazine editors' emails. You find the editor that writes the kind of articles that you're looking to be featured in, and then you just pitch to them that, hi, I'm a small business. I just started. This is what I do. This is my mission. Here are pictures of my latest collection. Would love for you to feature us.
Okay.
Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah.
That to me is just an example of just
I think that's
like
very
use
entrepreneurial.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that would never even cross my mind. I just always assume this sounds maybe because I don't know anything about the publication world, but I just always assumed they found people.
Mm.
I would never have thought that like you could even do that. And then even
I
if
wouldn't even consider doing that. That would not
no,
cross my mind.
no, and then to be like, oh, I'm gonna like go on Instagram to find out who they are. It's just so yeah, entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like using your head. Like I know that sounds I don't want to be that sound I don't like to sound patronizing, but it's just I don't know, my mind is blown. I just would never have thought that's what you do.
I feel
Yeah.
like being an entrepreneur is literally continuously shooting your shot at things.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And like so I know some other bits and pieces that you've done in the background to like shoot your shot. And it's just so impressive because I even remember you saying this was years ago. Um, you like went to this women's like networking session or something, and you connected with this woman about business, and you like she became your mentor and you was able to swap tips of her. I don't know if you remember this story. I hope you do. Dolapo.
I do.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, good. But like like that is like another example of just shooting a shot, just going for it, and then the market research that you did, shooting a shot, and then this
Yeah.
as well. It's like so much of it is like thinking outside of the box
Yeah. You
and
have
then
to be
feeling confident
creative.
enough just to go for it.
Yeah. You have to find like creative ways of doing things.
What's your proudest achievement with Taidou?
For me, it's just the feedback that I get. Like just the fact that I've made somebody feel good and getting feedback that they feel seen and they feel confident. That for me is the best thing about doing this business. But other than that, I'm really proud of the fact that I've gotten an idea into a tangible product and I've actually built a business, a recognized business. Like I'm being recognized within that industry, the fuller bus community, as the go-to person for like nice clothing. Like I'm really, really proud of that because it's not easy to do, like to think of an idea and execute it. So yeah, those two things.
Have you always been a ballsy type person? Like, have you always been someone who's comfortable like, in your work career, like normal work life, to
Do
shoot
things
your shot?
outside of the box.
Yeah, yeah. Or have you really had to step out of your comfort zone to do that with Taidou?
Um, okay, so I'll answer both. So I haven't had to step out of my comfort zone, but I haven't done that in my work life because I feel like my work life pushed me to do Taidou because I feel like throughout most of my career I have been underestimated,
Mm,
kind of overlooked because I'm naturally introverted, And I'm a quiet person. Nicole knows me. I'm quiet, especially with people that I don't really know that well and I'm not comfortable with. So I always used to get feedback that, oh, you need to be more assertive. You need to speak up more, even though I don't get opportunities to speak, and I don't
Mm,
get given good opportunities. I used to get like passed over for opportunities and stuff. But then in my personal life, I am the problem solver in my family. I'm the hustler in my family. Like I'm really good with money, and all of those things. So because I was feeling so unfulfilled at work, I was like, I need to do something outside work where I can actually just use all of those like hustling skills that I have
yeah.
in my personal life. So yeah, I would say Tidal just like kind of brought out things that I already had, but I wasn't able to use at work. But I'm hoping that in my new job I will be able to because it's a different environment. So.
It
Right.
gave you the platform to use your skills and abilities, to the
Mhm.
best of your ability outside of work, and just like, made you feel like you were being maybe felt more fulfilled doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and doing it my way as well because it's my own
Mm,
business and I can do it however I want. So, that was really important as well.
yeah. Yeah, it's doing it your way and having your platform. As
Hmm.
you said, you're gonna have a plus size black woman on a photo shoot just because you can. Why
Yeah.
not? That's
Mm.
what I want, so that's what I'm gonna have.
If you're a business owner, then you can do what you like.
I know. I hope one day either I'm a business owner or I win the lottery or I become a kept woman because you earn so much money, Stefan, that one day I can just do whatever I want. I don't
That's the
have to
dream.
work. That is the dream. The dream. Um, so on your socials, specifically Instagram, you are always posting content.
Hmm.
Do you have like a social media background? Like how have you, I guess, just found yeah, everything Instagram? Because I think for us personally, we find maintaining a profile on Instagram really difficult.
Hmm.
So how has it been for you?
Oh,
Are you a
I think
natural social media person?
no. And you know this, even in my personal one, I don't
You're,
even try.
you but you make it look so effortless. You always have content.
Yeah, the Instagram looks really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. This has taken years, and I mean years of getting used to. And even now, like when was my last post? 4 days ago. I'm meant to be posting every day, but these days I'm like, fuck it. I don't. Oh, sorry. I'm not meant to swear.
You
No,
can
it's,
swear.
it's fine.
These days, especially because I've not brought out any new stuff, so I'm just like, I am tired of posting my old stuff that is sold. I was like, nobody wants to see this. But yeah, um, I think um being organized. So when I'm actually being consistent about it, I schedule posts
Yeah.
um using later. If you guys want to start doing that, it's really helpful. So on the weekend I'll just post for the next week or the next 2 weeks, schedule for the next week or the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
um and in terms of creation, I just use Canva. Now I want to get into Reels, so I actually have to film content. So yeah, Canva and being organized and scheduling posts. But it did take me a while. Like I think social media is my least favorite thing because I don't like Instagram. I don't like social media, but I need it for my business.
Yeah.
So
So much of it happens there, especially because it's a
yeah,
clothing brand.
yeah, exactly.
And Canva is great. It makes life so much
It,
easier.
it does, yeah.
Where do you see Taidou in the next 5 years? Like if you could go anywhere, where would you like it to be?
I want it to be a one-stop shop for all things fuller bust. So from not just right now, we just focus on like occasion going out clothes, but I want to have like more casual lounge where I want to do bridal if possible.
That would be
Um,
amazing. It's very hard to
yeah,
find wedding dresses if you have a big bust.
Mm.
It's really,
yeah,
really hard. Actually, to the point where I personally didn't enjoy looking for wedding dresses because I found it too stressful and upsetting because
really,
nothing fit.
Well, you told me
Nothing
that
fit.
I think the wedding dresses are really small
Yeah,
there.
they're all so tiny. None of them fit my chest. And like every time I went into a wedding shop, a woman, like the woman who was helping me get into dress would make a comment on my boobs and say to me that
wow,
they're so big for my frame. And I was like, great, thanks.
so annoying.
How about a
Yeah.
Taidou wedding shop?
I'm
Yeah.
here for it.
Bridal, especially because I'm going through the process right now. So I'm going to probably start trying dresses when lockdown ends. So I want to see what it's like and then, use that as kind of research.
Yeah, honestly, I can imagine the market would be big
Mm.
because it's
Yeah.
so hard. You'll you'll figure it out soon. You'll figure out just how hard it is.
So yeah, I want to be like a one-stop shop, but truly I actually don't know if I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, because I'm the kind of person that I like to try new adventures, and I know that at the end of the day, like why I started Title is just to make women feel good, and I feel like
Mm,
I also want to get into like kind of coaching women on like being an entrepreneur and financial literacy as well, especially Black women, like
yeah.
Black African women. I want to just help people. So I don't know if I'm going to do this long term, but I'm still enjoying it now, and I know that we still have so much more to do. But yeah.
I can foresee maybe 5, 10 years, you know, you in a magazine saying I sold my business and I'm a millionaire now,
Yeah.
and
Amen
yeah,
to
I'm just the guru. I'm basically Karen Millen now,
Yeah.
just chilling.
Remember us when you make it big.
that. I claim
Remember us.
that.
Because right now as well, people are calling out and wanting so much more diversity in fashion. Like, yes, with the models, but in what they wear and
Hmm.
having flexibility. So it's almost like your idea came or your solution came just at the right time.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's definitely more of a conversation now, like everywhere. Not even just like fuller bust, just maybe clothing for tall people, shoes for people with wider or longer feet. Like people just think that everyone should be included. But at the same time, now that I work in fashion, it's impossible to cater to everyone. And that's just the truth. Like just from a financial perspective and from a quality perspective, if you want to do good quality stuff, you really should be specializing, because that way you would like have the sizing correct, and you understand the figures of the people that you're catering
Mm.
to as well. So yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. I don't know. You can't do everything.
But then I think you need companies that will focus on specific things. So maybe your business will focus on obviously women with fuller busts, but not
Mhm.
tall women or women
Yeah,
with wide feet. But then you've got another company for that.
yeah.
I think me growing up, there was nothing for having a bigger chest.
Mm.
Like nothing. No exaggeration. There wasn't anything. And even my friends would go and get like bras or tops from Primark, and I was like, oh, there's no point me going there because I know it's not going to fit. I'm gonna have to head over to M&S to
Yeah, the
get some
ugly
to
bra.
get something. The ugly brand, yeah. I'm gonna have to get something that's like
Did you say the
dated.
ugly brand?
The ugly bras.
Oh, bras. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess the big question that I've been holding off from asking you is how do you manage a full-time job in a corporate world with your business? How
Uh,
do you do the two?
well, okay. Having some bench time has helped. I can't even lie. Like being in consulting and having downtime, that has really helped. But obviously, there's been time where I've been super busy. But then it's just being organized. And I even see like when I'm super busy at work, I see Taidou as an outlet. It feels
Mm,
like an outlet for me because I've never actually had the opportunity to explore my creative side since like all my life. I've just been like an academic person. I studied law at uni, then I went straight into the corporate world. So to me, this is like a whole new world, and it's just so exciting to call myself a creative. And yeah, try and stay organized. I have processes. I use technology to make my life easier by not having to do things from scratch. So like my websites, for example, I use Shopify. Really easy to update things there. It's very user friendly. And then like scheduling social media posts. Yeah, you just have to be organized. I put everything in my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it's not happening.
right.
Yeah. So
So it's just being organized
Mm.
mhm.
and I don't know, yeah, doing like using tools around you that makes your life easier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see how it is now because back then, so last year, I had a different business model. So it was made to order, and they were making it in India and shipping it out from India. So I actually didn't have to fulfill any of the orders. So that
Mm.
made my life easier. But now I'm changing it because of I got feedback around the customs charges that my UK customers used to get when they received stuff from India. So I'm doing like small production runs. So I would have to be fulfilling it myself. So it might take more of a toll on me. But again, finding ways to make it easier. So instead of going to the post office and queuing forever, I'm going to have them pick up the parcels and stuff. So just doing little things like that makes all the difference.
Mm,
And having it delivered to you so then you can then fulfill the order.
mm.
Yeah, so like I fulfilled, so I pack it at home, and then so Royal Mail, they have a service where they can come and collect it from your house and post it
Oh,
for you
okay.
instead of me going to the post office and queuing.
Right, okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That
Hmm.
makes sense. And I guess it's just figuring out what works best for you as well. Like that way works better for you, but maybe there's another way that will work better for somebody else. So it's I guess
Yeah.
tailoring it to your style of working.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing that I would say like for entrepreneurs. Like for me, I listen to so many podcasts on having a fashion business, like having a business in general, and you get so much information and sometimes it can be overwhelming, but it's important to find what is best for you, like you said, because sometimes what works for somebody else might not actually be good. In fact, it might be detrimental to your business and your business model. So you really need to be careful what you take on when you like listen to all these podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's good advice. Very good advice.
Mm. I think it's also very good to see yourself and other businesses being entrepreneurial, black businesses. There's a lot of initiative nowadays about buying black, having black businesses, and also Black Pound Day,
Mm-hmm.
which is a day that happens every month. I think it's the first of the month,
The
every
first
month,
Saturday every month.
first Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you see like more of an uplift on Black Pound Day, or maybe even Black Friday, but that's a different thing. But Black Pound Day specifically?
Um, to be honest, it was only like the first few ones because then I feel like it then turned into a black discount day. Like people were expecting
All
discounts
right.
from black businesses on Black Pound Day. But what you did say about people supporting black businesses more is definitely true. Even me, if you look at my Instagram, in the search bar, you'll be seeing black owned loungewear, black owned, because I'm looking for black owned businesses to buy from. I don't want to buy from any of these big corporations anymore.
Yeah.
Before, I like, if I hear of a black business, I will support them. But now I actually want to start looking for them to buy from them because there's so many people doing amazing things. And I just feel like we don't have the exposure. So I think the onus is on us to actually
Mm,
find black businesses as a first point of call. And then if you don't find any black business or maybe it's just too inconvenient, then you buy from where you normally buy from.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. Because even with my hair products, I used to get my hair products off this random company and it wasn't black
Mm.
owned. And I was like, actually, let me just search for black owned companies that sell the hair products that I want and just buy from there. And sometimes it may be a little bit more, but it's not like £20 more or maybe like £2.99 extra for delivery. So it's
Mhm.
not a big deal. And I'm like, I'd much rather put my money into their pockets than someone that's not black owned.
Yeah.
Same with kind of books as well. Like I've made an effort for the last year and a half now just to read books from black authors because exactly what you said, they just don't get the platform that other like
Yeah,
white authors or white business owners do.
for sure. And also, I enjoy black stories. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
really
Yeah.
enjoy them.
I actually like reading it.
Yeah.
I think it's also quite interesting what you mentioned, how Black Pound Day became Black Discount Day.
Mm.
But I've
Because
noticed that as well.
yeah, because I feel like we want to support black businesses, but every time there's a occasion to do that, it's like, oh, so where's my discount day?
Yeah.
And it's not the right mentality that we should be having, you know.
Yeah.
We
Mm,
should be paying regardless or looking to get these things regardless, and they're not that much expensive, or sometimes they're even cheaper than what you could have gotten elsewhere.
mm.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's a good point. That's a good point. We need to do better, I think.
Mhm.
So, talking, just moving away a little bit from Taidou, it'd be good
Mhm.
to speak about your consulting experience. So, we met, we being the audience, well, we being me and Dolapo, met at a big consultancy company, and then we both kind of left there and went our separate ways. And now you're kind of fully moving away from consulting and doing something else.
Mhm.
How did you know that consulting wasn't for you?
Um, I just don't. I mean, okay, consulting is good because you get variety and all of that. If you're not stuck on one project forever, and you have luck and you're able to like move between different good projects that are
Mm,
aligned to your career aspirations, but that is kind of rare. Well, when you're in a big consulting firm, you just want to be chargeable. You're put on something that will just make you chargeable and that might not be aligned to what you actually want to do. But then
yeah.
chargeability makes a difference to your end of year review. So that for me was just annoying. And then because as a consultant, you're basically like your client's bitch. And I don't like it.
Stefan, do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
I agree with that as well. You are your client's bitch.
Yeah, and even when I was interviewing at the firm I'm joining, they were like, "How do you feel not being the star of the show?" Because obviously, I won't be. I'm going to a law firm to join the innovation team, and obviously, I'm not a fee earner. But I was like, "That is actually what I want to do, not be the star of the show. Let me just be
This
in the back."
sounds great. Yeah.
This sounds right up my street. So yeah, but I know that I want to do project management. I love innovation because it's kind of like entrepreneurship. So yeah, that's why I decided to move and just have like one role, like be able to see the impact as well of things that I'm introducing into the business, like the technology solutions and stuff. So yeah, and I feel
Mm,
like coming from consulting, when you're moving to like somewhere like a law firm, because um, they are kind of like behind when it comes to technology. So all of the experience and the processes and the methodologies that you bring, they would actually be wowed by it as well
yeah, they
because
will
they're
be.
not used to it. So
Mm,
I want to go there and like, just make a difference there.
Yeah, they
yeah.
definitely will be wowed. It's what you said there around when you move from project to project to project and you don't really
Mhm.
get to see the impact that you make. I think that's like the long-term impact that you have. I think that's the big one. I know I've worked with grads before and they're like, oh, they have on a 6-week project and they're like, oh, I got to see how they implemented our recommendations or, you know, how the business would have changed and or something like that. And with consulting, sometimes the projects are so short
Yeah.
that you never get to see that. It's gonna have like kind of hop around. It almost feels like you're dating. You never have that long-term commitment
Mm.
Yeah.
from anyone because that's just not your job. You're there to deliver that thing, that task, and then just keep it moving and go off to somewhere else.
Yeah.
I always find it really hard to adjust if I've just finished a project to then go on to another one straight away because my mind and head is still on that previous client.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And another thing from my end was that I was actually within the technology assurance business unit in the firm, and it just was loads and loads of report writing, and I hate report writing. Like report writing where you're like going into a large technology program and assessing where they are, like doing a health check and then
Yeah.
writing reports and giving recommendations. It's just not my strong suit. I like tangible stuff. I don't want to just like write a report because I'm not good with words as well. Like I'm good with words, like I can talk, but when it comes to writing a report, I just don't like it. I find it boring and
Yeah.
like people have different report writing styles. So it's almost like you have to start learning all over again, depending on what partner you are paired with or what director you're paired with, because they have different writing styles. So it was just annoying, and I wanted to do something else.
And it sounds like you're looking to go somewhere where you've got a bit more autonomy as well.
Hmm.
Because and the
Yeah.
innovation team would give you that. I think sometimes if consulting and with the audit function that you was in, you don't have don't know, you can't, as you said before, you can't, you're, sometimes the project just doesn't align up to your career ambitions and you just have
Mm-hmm.
to suck it up and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And my experience is that a lot of the time you have to suck it up and do it
Yeah.
more often than getting like a full choice.
Yep.
And then I guess finally to wrap it up, what would you say is, so two questions, actually no, three questions, all about learnings. What would you say is the biggest learning that you've had from setting up your own company? Is it the doing what works best for you, figuring out like your own best process?
My biggest lesson is that things are going to go wrong, and you have to learn how to be agile and to learn how to pivot, to learn how to kind of firefight and be a problem solver. So I'll give an example if that's okay. So I had a very good opportunity last year where I collaborated with a very big fuller bus brand, Curvy Kate,
Mm.
and it was great. Like I got all of the traffic and everything, and then lo and behold, the factory had a COVID case and shut down.
Oh no.
And it's like you have that opportunity, you have people that want to buy from you, but you can't actually make any of the clothes because obviously I was doing made to order at that point. So yeah, so I had to think of like a creative way to still keep those customers, to use them in the future. So I actually offered people discount, like a voucher instead. So at least I know
Mm.
that they're going to be coming back when I do have things in stock. So yeah, just learning, like thinking on your feet, like really
Yeah,
quickly, and yeah, knowing that things will go wrong and you have to solve it.
that's a big that's a good example
Yeah,
of thinking on your feet and things really not going
you need
to
strong
plan.
problem-solving skills. Yeah,
You do.
yeah, that's really good.
And what advice would you give to your younger self? Just in general, what advice would you give
Mm.
to your, let's say, 18-year-old self?
um that everything will be okay, don't worry too much, that life is going to take you like to unexpected places, because I personally thought I would be a lawyer, like obviously going to
Mm,
uni to study law. And it's very ironic. It's a full circle moment now that I'm joining a law firm. So I was meant to be in law, but just not in the way I had thought I would be in
yeah.
law. So yeah, just like every everything that happens to you, there's a reason for it. Like when I went to university, I had always been like a high flyer. Like I got all A's at A levels and stuff. But then at uni, I actually got a 2-2, and that was a very humbling experience for me. Like as an international student, like I was so scared to tell my parents about it. But I think that needed to happen, one, to humble me as a person. And if that didn't happen, I probably would have gotten a job not in the first firm that I started in, because that was the only place that was accepting grads with a 2-2 as well. And yeah,
We
I
would
would
never have met.
we would never have met. My career path would just have been completely different. So I think just telling my younger self that everything happens for a reason, even bad things too.
Mm.
Yeah, and it will work out in the end.
And I think that's one for everyone as well. It's like even if you're like the plans that you had in your mind don't work out, there's always another avenue for you. There's always a plan B and a
Yeah.
different route. Because I think a lot of the time, like when you're younger, you get so hung on, oh, I want to be really successful in my 20s. I want to have a big
Hmm.
career. I want to earn loads of money. Like I want to be a high flyer. I want to get married, have kids, all that other stuff. And if it doesn't work out that way, it's like, well, how do you pivot
Yeah.
and to make that like the plan B just as successful?
Hmm. For sure.
And then my final question is, what did you learn during the COVID global pandemic for Taidou? Because I'm sure that must have had an impact, as you mentioned earlier with the factory getting COVID.
Yeah. So I probably have mentioned this before, but just being agile and um, understanding your customer data, listening to your customers as well. And I also found that it, like, people will support you as long as you have a good business that is solving a problem. Because I was still selling during the pandemic when
Oh,
people were
wow.
on lockdown. Like people were still buying from you. So I think when you're having a business, you really need to know what problem you're solving, understand your target market, and listen to your customers. And if you do that, and people begin to trust you and still support you because people are buying for like, oh, when we're allowed to go out, let me just buy this now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it sounds like throughout the entire kind of creation of Taidou, you were always listening to your customers through the market research, through
yeah,
um, what not have customers not wanting their packages to come directly from India. You've
yeah,
taken that feedback on board and now change your complete
Mm.
yeah,
business model as a result of that. I think
yeah,
that shows that you've got, I don't know, just loads of guts to just to listen to your customers and
yeah.
to,
You
to
have
change
to.
your approach.
You have to, otherwise your business will fail and you remain stagnant.
But you say that, but I think a lot of people don't listen to their customers. They're like, it sounds like so obvious. Oh, listen to your customers, like get feedback from them. But I think a lot of the some businesses don't do that.
For sure. And just to add to that, like I think there's another side to it. So, Nicole, you probably see my Instagram stories. I stay doing Instagram polls and questions, asking
Mm,
from the design to my packaging. The thing is, if you bring your customers along on the journey with you, they feel more invested. They feel like they know you. They feel like you want to hear their opinions, and then
yeah.
they're more willing to spend their money on you because they feel like this is a well thought out brand, a well thought out product, and I want to invest in it. So there's that as well.
I totally agree because you always have polls out and it's like, oh, do you think like what kind of I think the other day you shared what kind of print would you
Mm-hmm.
like and what kind of designs would you like? And for me, it always makes me think, yeah, like you're interested in my opinion and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
take that on board
Yeah.
and
And the
you
product is for
care.
you.
And it's for me. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're asking me. And again, it sounds really maybe obvious. It just doesn't happen though that you get asked
Yeah.
those questions and the simple things around like what color, like what type of print do you like?
Yeah. I think that also comes from my insecurity because I'm not a designer. I don't see myself as a designer. So, typical fashion designers is actually the opposite because they're so set on their designs and then they forget the other part of the business.
Yeah.
So, because I'm the opposite and I come from the business side of things, so me, I just want to ask so at least I know that I'm doing the right thing.
But then that sets you apart from the other brands, I guess,
Yeah.
because you're going from it from like a different angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And as well, for a brand of your size to be so customer focused is really good.
Mm,
Like Nicole's mentioned it, but I think it's actually probably quite rare because in the corporate industry or like large businesses, let's say Google or something,
Mhm.
people don't know this, but they are extremely customer focused. Like using Google, Gmail, all that stuff is built based on your feedback, based on what they see users doing, based on people just clicking the back button when they think they've gone
Mhm.
to the wrong place and they
Mhm.
realize, right, I'm going to change the UI because they seem to go down this road and they don't want to end up there because they end up pressing back. And they are leading by customer feedback, right? And
Yeah.
so for you to also do the same thing, it's a really positive sign. I think it's a really good thing because small businesses don't think about that, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
It
it's
should,
because I work in agile and agile is based on the customer and that's just how I see my business as a project. It's like an agile project and I'm doing different iterations and stuff. So
mm,
maybe that's why I think that way.
yeah. I think all the consulting backgrounds, it
Mm,
just makes such a difference in how you're able to drive your business forward.
definitely. Definitely.
Um, and obviously just because in general you're just, you're a girl boss,
No
you're a
bastard
bad bee,
bitch.
bad bitch. You're getting things done, innit? So I think we'll wrap it up there. But before we end, Dolapo, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, all of the social media platforms at Taideux, Taideux. And if you want to follow my my personal Instagram where I share my journey, it's Dolapo's Diary. Although I haven't really been posting, but follow me because I plan on being consistent.
From today.
But thank you guys so much for having me. I really enjoyed talking because I haven't actually like shared my story about my business with anyone before, like verbally. So I'm really excited that you guys had me on. Thank you.
You're
You're
welcome. It
welcome.
was great having you on. And we'll also put out your social media details on our
Mhm.
Instagram page and on our kind of podcast, where you can find our podcast as well. That information will be there if you want to
Okay.
find Dolapo and Taideux.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, yeah, and for everyone listening, we'll speak to you or catch up with you next week. Bye.
Bye.
If you have any questions or dilemmas, email us on ordinaryblackprofessionals@gmail.com, or we can be found on Instagram and Twitter at ordinaryblackprofessionals. Also, don't forget to follow us, subscribe, and leave a rating and comment.